I think this slide captures the core of my talk. The visibility, this is the social media provides us. Visibility, everybody in social media wants to be seen, wants to be noticed. Everybody is like, chanting or, shouting like, see me, realize me, notice me, I am here. Everybody is like that in social media. But this is kind of mirror. We try to become windows through which we can see other people who has needs. Okay? So visibility, kind of reflecting us to seek ourselves, our image, our position, our personality, our voice, our audience. This is kind of self-centered. But solidarity, on the other hand, works differently. It's more like a window. It allows us to see others, building relationships, pumping water through the pipes. So visibility is not the same thing as relationship. Digital systems are neutral. Actually, this sentence is kind of debatable. Do you think digital systems are neutral? What do you think? Sorry for interrupting your lunch. Actually, I'm talking about the architecture, not the content, but the architecture. Digital systems are not neutral because they have an algorithm, and algorithms are constructed according to the thinking of their architects. Yeah, thank you. So, on the side of the, us, as consumers of digital content, okay, we are, engaged in social media, and these systems are designed to keep us engaged. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to keep us comfortable. I call it, filter bubble, the comfort of the bubble. So you hear what you want to hear. You are, facing those people whom you like. So you don't want to, face other people that you don't like. And this kind of creating echo room. You hear your voice. You hear what you like. You hear what you, want. So when the algorithm hides the other, we lose the muscle memory of cooperation. So this design, we should intervene. The danger is not only intellectual, it is social and moral. Because what the algorithm, hides the other, we slowly lose the habit of, encountering difference. So we always become with those who are alike us. So that's danger. Not intellectually, but morally. So, and this is, not all digital participation has the same value. This is selectivism. On the one side, there is, lower effort, symbolic participation, thoughts and prayers that make us feel better, zero reality change. We just click on and we feel better. That is not something that we cherish. We should, do better. We should make better. And that's called digital cooperation. What we need? Organized cooperation. A post, a gesture, a reaction, that should, give more to others, especially for the needy. Digital systems in digital cooperation, organize resources, people, and knowledge around a shared task. like crowdfunding. There's two examples. One is crowdfunding, crowdfunding for like a refugee's education, bypassing financial gatekeepers, or EU open source medical research, scientists sharing data instantly to save lives. So that's kind of digital cooperation that we need, not slacktivism, just clicking for, making us better. Okay, one of the hidden strengths of us networks is the power of weak ties. This is a sociological term, weak ties. So weak ties, if we have strong ties, that means family bonds. My friends, they are strong ties. But we cannot get more than from our strong ties. What we will get benefit, especially from our weak ties, because what we are learning, comes through weak ties. They give us new information, new opportunities, new access beyond our immediate, circle. So our circle is already knows us. So limited opportunities, limited knowledge, but the weak ties can create, something more for us. So a person outside our close group may bring to one piece of information, skill or connection that changes the entire response. That's why digital solidarity can scale, when it works well, each added connection does not only increase size, it can multiply our capacity. So that's what we should look at carefully. Algorithmic bias, there's a kind of warning, because here networks don't automatically become fair just because they are large. They are not automatically fair just because they are large, because they can have algorithmic bias. Auditing to architecture is a kind of issue that nowadays, we have problems. So systems prioritize users who look like the data. So we must audit these systems to ensure they serve the margins, not just the majority. Some people are talking about fascism. Fascism, maybe some think that fascism is dead. I don't think so. Digital fascism, is more dangerous, the old fascism. Some, few players at the top are deciding everything. So that's the kind of algorithmic bias that we should be careful about. And that's why I'm, making a warning for you to look at. Okay, so traditional charity, often works vertically. I help you because I'm better. I have a good conditions, so I give you. That's kind of, a superiority over others. But solidarity is kind of horizontal. We cooperate because our destinies are linked. So we should, rethink about the charity, the concept of charity. In terms of traditional charity, we should avoid the, becoming more paternalist or more, superior than others. That's kind of against the notion of solidarity, because since we are equals, partners, we are friends, we are we are here, and our destinies are linked. That's why we are cooperating. So the language changed from I help you to we act together. In the digital age, this becomes more visible. People are no longer only donors or spectators. They can become participants in a shared architecture of response. Okay, so technology. makes you shut the door. Maybe can open the door. But what you make you able to enter the room is your human abilities. Technology is something handshake. Okay? It provides access, connection, getting in the room, but solidarity is the grip. So resilience, holding the world together when it shakes through solidarity, we should think of connection again, and we cannot see technology as the cure of everything. Okay, it can create something for us to access those who we have no access before, but solidarity is the grip. We should look at the term solidarity from the lens of not technology, but lens of human skills. Okay, so I don't want to leave this room, only at the level of theory. So here's a very simple practical principle, the rule of one. Okay, if you spend 60 minutes of time online for your fun, for your personal consumption, just do it 1 minute contributing. Like verify a piece of information, contribute a line of code to an NGO, support a cause, through online, advocate for someone or some organizations the algorithm has ignored. So just 1 minute, for 60 minutes consuming. So that will create something different that you cannot ignore, while time has passed. Okay. So my conclusion. For the first time in history, we can identify ourselves. We can identify problems across a distance and begin responding those problems almost instantly. As soon as we see something through online, we can just intervene. That's our chance. That's our possibility. That's our, richness, compared to past generations. That changed the nature of collective action. Coordination no longer belongs to only institutions. So that's the power of individual. That's the power of us. Okay? So it can emerge through networks, but that also means the quality of our future depends on the quality of the systems we build. So don't remain only users of platforms, become architects of response. Don't stop at connection, build the grip, because technology may connect us, but only solidarity will sustain us. So I personally advise you, for my last sentence, to not become consumers of technology, but producers of technology, architects of system. How? Your digital skills. And this is for not only yourself, but for humanity. If you invest your digital skills, you can change architecture. Because this is not something related with the, computer engineers or, top level, C-level people. No. Individual is so powerful now that can change anything he or she wants. So that's your power. And technology brought it. But our heart, our solidarity, our human skills, because of technology, should not be, unflourished. In order to flourish them, we should use this technology as an opportunity. And in this, unprecedented time, I trust you, young people, more than our generation. So your future is in your hand, and just stand up and do your best. Thank you very much. If there is a question, I will be happy to answer. Yes. Opinion of what? SciCap? SciCap. It's a payment system. So it's a kind of, okay. I think she's Russian, huh? I think so. Yeah. Kazakhstan, yeah, might be. Yeah. I got, many articles from her site, but, giants, those people who, manage the scientific world are enemies of this girl. So that's why they shut down their website. Yeah. But I am not sure if she's illegal or illegal. Yeah. In our tradition, stealing a book for a student is permissible. Yeah. So why are you, making, those articles, which is scientific information, higher costs? Why? Right? So you are talking about this. Yes. That's one of the problems that we are facing in our academic world, because there are kind of some I don't want to name the corporations, but there are few corporations that have limited access to scientific information. They want you to pay, and they have earning huge amount of money. So for me, I use this lady's website and LibGen also. Do you know the LibGen? Yes, LibGen, there are lots of books, hundreds of books, but that's also shut down by those corporations. So there's a kind of solidarity versus, capitalist elites that are, earning money out of, knowledge. Yeah, thank you. It's a good point, but a dangerous point. Any questions? So you are from Poland? Oh, good, Victoria, thank you. Türklerden soru soracak var mı? Böyle sorayım bari de. Bizden yani. Hocam o kadar güzel anlattınız ki var ya, hiçbir şey kalmadı geriye. Veya hocam ne anlattın sen ya? iki ihtimal. There are two cases. Nobody asking, everybody got understood everything. Okay? Or second case, second scenario, nobody understood anything. So that's why, because asking question is an art. Right? Hazreti Ali said, I know someone's mind from his questions. Yes. Böyle deyince hemen. Yeah. She wants to thank you. No problem. Slacktivism, yes. Tamam. Okay, my first scenario is true. Everybody got understood everything. So that's why she's thanking. And she said some things that she understood everything. Okay, I give you 100 grade as a professor. Okay, any questions? Thank you. Okay. First warning, those AI people, technical people like Sam Altman or, the guy, heading the Anthropic, they are so smart that they made everyone to talk and think and, about this AI. So that's the kind of marketing strategy. So AI is not so important as they put us, okay? So that's a warning. Don't take them as seriously because their agenda is this. And there's a research supporting my thesis. 300,000 people, they ask how they use AI. They use as personal assistant. And most of the, bosses, business people, C-level people are not, taking AI to their business ecosystem. Why? Because they are still waiting. Because it's kind of maturing. It's kind of, on the way of, forming to better stage. So that's something maybe we can expect in 5 years. For our personal perspective, for how can we get the benefit of AI? Using as personal assistant. Don't ask anything if you don't have any information, if you don't have any idea, never use AI. If you know something, in order to get a personal assistance, use AI. But AI is, get you into loop that create hallucinations and kind of manipulations. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes. If you don't know anything about something, never use AI because it can manipulate you. And my last remark for your question, sorry about that. Okay, AI is about this mind, but being human is about this heart. Okay, so if you keep your heart alive, never worry about something technological. Yeah. So if you are exporting something, you can use AI as your personal assistant, and this AI is not more than that something. Okay, take it as personal assistant. Yes, please. Sounds. What about reform? We ask reform as well, and it comes. It brings us a new reform. Did you see? If you look at the AI world, these AI agents have formed a new religion for AI. They have a temple now. They have a religion. They have rituals. They have a credo. Yeah. Yes. So, they say that, the AI, expansion of AI has reached its peak. Why? Because, they are using all the internet, all the content, exists in internet. So they have reached their limits. So they just wait for humans to produce. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's a tool. Don't take it as more than tool. It's a tool. If you take it as a tool, that's no problem. So you are, so you have lots of things to say regarding AI, and I like to, chat about this AI, but we have time limited. So I think they are looking for me to get rid of this, room. So, okay, I can go. Questions are over. So thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day. Have a nice